Hey guys, it is Fairy Grace. I am posting my latest fairy gardens. I haven't done them in a few years. Just so you can see size-wise. Here's my gigantic hands. I don't know, it's probably like an 8-inch bowl. But someone said, how do you do a tutorial on how to do fairy gardens? But I don't know how to do that and hold the camera. So I'm just going to go over some tips for those of you that have already done fairy gardens. One of them, you need a pair of scissors. You need to trim some detail, cut some moss. You're going to use your scissors for a bunch of different things. Also, I use pliers to bend wires, and I also use wire cutters because you work with wire most of the time when you're doing fairy gardens. So here's some while I'm talking. I do like to make some things movable because I made a fairy garden for my stepmom, Nani, and one of the grandkids came over and they wanted to see what was interaction and what they could move, and Nani was like, no. So now I like to add an element that has some pretty beads in there, elements in there. Just to show you some ideas you can do, I get moss from outside, then I cut it up, and then you can spray it with a water bottle to keep it nice and lush. And another thing, I get little rocks outside, real tiny ones, and they can make paths, or they can line up just to randomly put them. You can see flat marbles. You can do a lot with. We can see their stepping stones. We can see they're holding on to something. Oh, and I also made this movable. There was actually a chip where you see that glitter. Actually was a chip. Basically any imperfection, I cover it with glitter. So if a little kid comes and they can play with this and take the little beads out, they'll probably lose them within a week, but that's okay. Beads are replaceable. Imagination needs to thrive. This is actually repurposed wine holder wire, and then I put wooden beads that I got at a yard sale. And then I just glued it, as you can see, onto flat marble. Something else when you're making fairy gardens, everyone has spare old keys. You can use them for decoration. And then these little items, like little sprocket gears, I forget, steampunk style. I just love them. And here was a charm. And you can go in the jewelry section and just make things like that. You can see this is actually a little wooden bead that came from the same place as these ones, but I glued it as a doorknob, and then I glued a little gold, teeny tiny gold bead from a jewelry section to make it represent like the door. Now this is a polymer clay. You can buy these in a pack. Next video I'll show you what the outside looks like, and I'll just take a day, not like the whole day, but I'll take a few hours and I'll just make these. They're real simple. Take a color, roll it, flatten it, and then take another color, preferably white, and add little pieces on top and roll it on the bottom. The simplest thing you can make in polymer clay, and then you bake them. I make a bunch of them at once because it is kind of tedious and takes a while. Another thing, when you're completely done, you can take some type of cleaner or wipe or Windex and just clean everything off, kind of like a chef does right after he makes your meal, and just cleans anything up. It looks like I have to get that a little better. Okay, also this is what I've done in polymer clay. As my next step, I made little carrots in a little basket. Hey, welcome home. And the I just kind of learned to do that because my son was inspired to eat an apple one day when he saw a little tiny Lego apple carton, and it made him want an apple. So we are influenced by what we see. Trust me, I watch all the baking cooking shows, and anytime it's dessert, I will go in my kitchen and get dessert. One thing I love for a million different reasons, this is a Monopoly piece, and then I just added some glitter to jazz him up, but you could put something cooler in there. This is also, again, from a wine thing. I'll show you that real quick. Do you know what I'm talking about? Little wine things so you can identify your wine when you go out to events. Now, all of these had charms on them. Here we go. Here's a completed one, not ripped apart. Right here. So I found these at an estate sale for $2, and I bought the whole bunch. Totally love my yard sales. and I thought they're cute and tiny. Anything cute and tiny, I'm like, I want to make something with a fairy garden. So what I'm doing is I'm taking their pieces off, and you can see that was a wine one. Is he not the cutest? But again, I cover imperfections with glitter. He had a hole after I took him off his little wine thing, and I just dipped him in glitter. And there's the little carrots I made with the little basket, a little bread, a little roll, and this was a little toy, teeny tiny toy. This is a fuzzy. Shout out to Oma. I love those since I was little. And then these are buttons, and they were from my mom's collection of arts and crafts. And I just glued them together with some sticks to make a table, and the same thing, I made him a little chair. Now, isn't this funny? It is just in a very inexpensive solo cup. I thought, is that appropriate for kids? But yes, we use solo cups here quite often with farm kids, and there's a million of them. So you can do something very inexpensive. If you don't have containers, use a plastic cup. Of course, all these other ones I have gotten at thrift stores or yard sales. Something else when you're making your gardens. This originally was going to be in this garden. I kind of have stories with my gardens. This one is a eclectic hoarder. I do not mean that in any offense. This fairy that lives here is an eclectic hoarder. She loves all things shiny and tiny. She found a very exotic earring in the garden yard and made it her wind chime. She found a key. You can see again, I said million things for keys. And this you could take off if you remove this for the interaction piece. Now, I originally wanted this in here. I think it went really well. I tried to make everything cohesive and just naturally flow and look natural. But when I took this out to add some moss, I realized this was too much, and it didn't really go with my eclectic one, even though I want it. So go organic. If you don't feel like something really belongs in that garden, take it out, use it for a different garden, go organic. Now our little eclectic fairy here, she has found that's an earring. This is part of a wine thing again. This is an earring. And all the earrings, unfortunately, are because I literally lose an earring all the time. This is a little piece of real fungus, I don't know, kind of gross sounding, from a tree, and I left it because it goes with it. This is polymer clay. I just wanted to do something fun. I made it into a little heart. This actually is probably the one and only piece of an actual fairy garden. Everything else is stuff I construct because it's more affordable. That's how I did it. I hid a little wine treasure barrel in there. You can use stones to make it like her doorstep. And then you can just cluster things together. And sometimes I find that the nicest. I took sticks and I just put twine, and then I actually use a little bit of glue, but then this is something I use all the time in my gardens. Nail polish, that's glitter. So anytime you see all that glitter on there, on that natural piece of bark, it is covered in this, and that's it. And you don't need any glue because it's already glue in the nail polish and it sticks. Another thing I didn't say real quick before I forget, if you see strings, little strings, I can't see if I can see any right now. I did, and I don't know where it is. Let's look over here. Here's one. When you make your gardens, this one's halfway done. It's like a little cobweb. See that right there on my middle finger? I ripped it off. You need to go through and pick all the little yuckies out of your garden and make sure there's no hot glue strings that just love to hang around, and that can separate your detail. So use these or tweezers to pull out any of the strings from the hot glue or anything. Like this twine was a little bit too long, so that's when, after I built it, I went in with my scissors and cut them. Now another thing, I would probably take this, sorry for the focus issue, I would take the top of that and I would put glue gun and dip it in glitter so that looks better. And the same here. See that little piece of hot glue gun that is exposed? I did try to fix it with the nail polish coloring, but it did not work. So what I will do is I'll add a little more hot glue to it, and then I'll throw on some of this glitter right over it. so that you do not see that. You want to cover all the mechanics. This, as you can see, is a bottle cap, and all I did was put it on a twig, and it makes for whatever you want it to be. It can be a seat. Here's my interaction piece also in here, besides that little wine barrel. Because she is a hoarder, she found this beautiful glass bottle. I painted the top, yes, covered it in glitter, and then I just put random stuff in it that are kind of things we lose, like the back of a pin. This is a rotten mushroom, which reminds me of the one from Remy when he got electrocuted by lightning. Sorry for all the ums. And apparently you can see there is hot glue on there. So I will open him because this is, Chuck, if you want to go walking soon, I'm almost done. Sorry, we're trying to get a walk in and get healthy. We have like tons of candy we ate and out of shape. So we're trying to catch the sun. Anyhow, so this is interacting. So the person can, see, now that I turned my back to what I was doing, I'm losing it. Interaction, and this goes with the story. So I'm going to add a little more things on here, and it just sits right here. If I could get it with one hand looking at the camera. And that's kind of a fun piece that you can tell the person. Here's another thing you can do besides all the earrings. This is a pin. Love this brooch pin. Love it, love it, love it. But it broke in the back and I was too lazy to fix it. And finally I said, give it a new home. So find all those little trinkets in your house that you love, but you don't know what to do with them. Throw them in a fairy garden or give them to me. I will give them a good home and repurpose them. This is really cool because this is also something I loved. I did make a little bird out of polymer. I'm going to give a shout out to our youngest son, Michael Patrick. He mixed a bunch of polymer clay and then he left it and it was just a big gob. I hate to waste anything, so I thought, what can I do? And I just ripped it off in the colors he mixed and I made little birds. So this bird pattern is in a lot of these because I use that. So if I can flip this up, it's a bird in her swing. This is harder than I thought looking at the camera. My apologies. It's one of my favorite rings. Look how cute it is. But it is costume, so it only was a few dollars. And I repurposed it so you can see the little glue fuzzy thing. So that's where instead of using my big chubby fingers, which I really don't have big chubby fingers except when it comes to gardens, then they are big and chubby. So you just take it and you pull it right off. These are like your best friend with your scissors and the nail polish glitter and glitter. I got this at a yard sale. It is like super old and it makes everything look like a party. I'll show you that again, the power of glitter. So anyhow, you can see that I just made it into a little swing that kids can make it interacting. You can also take seashells. I took a bunch of seashells and then I first used my nail polish glitter and I covered it in nail polish glitter. After I did that, I lined just a hot glue gun. That's your other, actually probably your number one best friend, is this guy. He makes, oh, that is embarrassing. You can see there's a lot of love and action happening with this glue gun. But you can do a thin line and then I added glitter over that. And then my girlfriend gave me this, a bunch of seahorses, seashells, I can't even call it anything right, starfish from a bridal shower, and they were cleaning up the decorations, and she knows me, I'll take any trinket and trash and repurpose it, and so I use them now on all my seashell fountains, and then a pearl, because pearls go great with that, and then I took buttons that I also got from the yard sale. So you can do a million things with buttons, as you can imagine. In, sorry, my fingernails are also dirty. I'm in dirt, people. And then this was, you guessed it, a wine topper. And then I just hot glue gun. You can see it has a glue string. I'll try to take off, but it will be safer if I do it with my tool. I don't even know if I'm still on camera. Nope, I'm not. Anyhow, you pull it off like that, and then I add more glue gun and just throw on literally little beads. Try to color coordinate. Now this is just a random thing that came about. This is from Fairy Garden, bought. As I said, I rarely buy anything that's actual Fairy Garden because they're expensive, but this was 6 cents, thanks to my sister letting me know they were 90% off plus another 10%. So this was like 6 cents for this little chair. What I did was I just took a little polymer And I took 2 pieces of clay, and the story behind here, when it's all done, this will be like an ocean theme, is a fairy and a mermaid are in love. And the mermaid came and left a gift from the ocean. It's really looks like a little cute package to the fairy. So when she comes back, she will see the mermaid left her that. Okay, so that's my fun story of the day. Lastly, because this video is super long, but giving you some other ideas, this is, again, from jewelry. I just took it off the little jewelry piece, cut that off with my wire cutters. And then there's a carrot, because I'm thinking this is something kids are going to look at more. I want to put something healthy in there that they can get a craving for carrots. This is 3 pieces of Legos. Now you can see over there, we love our Legos. We also love our trains, all bought on Facebook Marketplace. But my 5-year-old realized that these were in, and he could tell they weren't the brand Legos. So he was like, get out of here. And I was like, I'll take it. And I knew I was going to do something with the garden, but I didn't know what. And it actually took me a while to figure out something with these 3 pieces. But I took them, and I took the hot glue, and I gave them little tiny twigs, and it makes a table. Now this actually broke off. This is a button from my mom's collection, and I will glue this on, and it will be, I needed a camera person. I'm sorry, guys. Is anyone still watching this? This will be a seat. So it'll be like the little table, and then the little toy back there, the little T-Rex, came in this little pack from Dollar General. And I just love them, period, before Fairy Gardens. But I actually saw them a year later, and this little one guy was on sale for 90% off, so I got him for 10 cents, and his little friends are all through the gardens. I'll show you my favorite way. Oh, I can't find it. That I used the garden. So to wrap it up, here's some other ideas. My youngest son loves cars. We had one that the middle son ran over, and the car didn't make it, but I salvaged the little car tires, and I made a tire swing. This is, again, a ring our youngest son got out of a gumball and didn't like it. So this was 50 cents. Now, if it would have been when I was younger, it would have only been a quarter. So I used that. I used the twine again, and then I used moss, and then I also added that very festive glitter. So I glued the moss on, then I glued the bird. At the same time, I added some glitter and added a little more glue, so he would like squish the glue out, if that makes sense. Okay, and this is a little box again, and I have the lid. I didn't put anything in this one yet, but I will, so a child can touch that one. This is out of clay, out of the glue, and I just literally take it and dip it upside down in the beads. Add the glue and then dip it into the beads like this. And you just dip it upside down so you don't touch it and burn yourself, which is inevitable. Some of these, all these pieces came from, this is the adult one because it's alcohol. So I haven't used it yet to figure out how to make the rest of it adult. You can tell what this is. Does anyone know what this is? Sure. Pizza stand. And I covered it in, you guessed it, the nail polish glitter. And you can see I have not cleaned this up yet because I'm not done. But there's glue strings I have to clean up. Though some of it may not be too bad. Kind of goes with the theme if it's on the table. Okay, so this polymer clay, I'm going to cover the bottom of that so you don't see it. Again, a missing earring, and moss on top of the house. And for these houses, I just take bark, I break it all up, and I just kind of fit it together. Now, something you didn't see with the gardens that's important to me is I make it so it's presentable in the back as well. So if you see any of my gardens, no matter what angle you look at it, it's going to have completion. So I make sure I walk around all my gardens and cover up anything that needs covered. Here's lastly, now I'll go one more. This is the buttons from my mom's craft collection. She was making barrettes. She has gone home to Jesus, our final resting place, and I just am using them to make a little table. Just glued 4 buttons together. This is a bead. If I can find the bag of beads. Not offhand. My apologies. But that's just a little bead that kids use really cheap. Here they are. Show you. See the little bag of beads? And then because you can see I have all the beads here. Dollar Tree, thrift store, yard sale. And then I just glue stuff all together. There's all the ones I've used for a lot of different things. And there's another tire from the car that only the tires made it after the lawnmower. And there's one of those, you can see back there, that little dinosaur thing for 10 cents for about 10 of them. He is imagining and playing with his little fuzzy. And then these are little pieces of wood. Again, the redundancy, little pieces of craft wood, got at a yard sale. And I just hot glue gunned them, and then I took twine. I don't recommend this. It takes forever and you will burn yourself. Clay, dip it in. So this one's themed. I found these at, again, the store. So they're actual fairy garden stuff for 6 cents each. This one, you can see you can make it look completely different. This is more for a kid. I have the box. I'll put something in it. This is marble, the flat marbles. Million things you can do with those, so always save them. I put a little seashell and I added glue to cover up the mechanics. That's a little clay. Now that was a basket, but it is fragile, it was too thin and it broke off, and I got angry and I was like, no. Fairy garden one-on-one, stay calm and enjoy, deep breath. Things will happen because you're working with tiny stuff and your fingers are learning to work with tiny things. So I thought, you know what? Add some glue around it and just make it a bowl instead of a basket. I love this. These are frosted colored flat marbles. And then I added that old-fashioned glitter that reminds me of New Year's. So you can see the difference just by what you put on. Which one do you like better? The beer or the random items for a kid one? So to show you this, that is taking the bark, putting twigs, some polymer clay, wine bottle, little bird. There is a flat marble as his nest with some moss on top. There's a little thing, the lid fell off, wine stop or wine thing. So that bottom little rainbow thing, this is the wine pieces, and the structure is actually the wine thing itself, and I just bent it with my pliers. And then the flat marbles and glitter to cover up the mechanics. So again, to recap, it was basically I took one of these. No, I'll be more accurate. I took this one. Nope, lied again. Okay, so the ones I'm taking are the ones that you clip yourself. See that? And then I cut the end off and I slide everything off. Then I turn this upside down, add all the beads, and then glue that sucker like this right onto the piece. Sorry, it's hard with one hand. So you can see that. And then there's all my mushrooms that I made one day, sometimes having conversation with my husband while he wanted to talk about some things. And he doesn't, you know, I'm a woman, so I'll sit there and I'll do a bunch of things while he's talking, but it's hard and it's distracting and it comes across as disrespectful. But he does not mind me sitting there making clay stuff, and then when he's done talking, then I go put it in the oven, and then I have a surplus to just go with the finishing. So I think that's all I want to show you. But you can see right here, that's again the actual wine wire. And then I just put different beads. Aren't those beads beautiful? I got those 99 cents at Wow Outlet, little craft store in our area. And then I glued it down to the marbles. Now you can get bigger marbles, flat marbles. I got this at the Dollar Tree. And then all I did was I straightened, semi-straightened the wire to get height. Took a big pearl from the Dollar Tree and then dipped the top because I didn't want to see the hole of the pearl. Again, that's the mechanics. You can add plants. The only ones I really do are aloes. There's a fountain. That bottom piece, that cross, came from a bracelet someone gave me and it broke. That fish is, you guessed it, wine stopper. My friend gave me the starfish. There's a pearl. Now what I do for the water fountains, oh, these were from chapstick lids, so I'm going to make them stepping stones when it's done. Here's another one of clay. The box does open. Crayons, because we only use Crayola. Everything else is just Torment. So I'm making a fence. That was a little toy I loved, a broken toy. So I'm going to use all that stuff. And then you can do things like that. Little manger scene. Okay, that's it. Well, I'm Fairy Grace. I was going to say something, but I'm realizing this video is so long. You can see there's charms on there. And those two tiny pieces, those are from a yard sale from Miniature Sets. That was a pin for a great cause, so I'm going to put that to give a shout out there. This is an old kitchen teaspoon that oxidized, and I don't want to put my food in it, so I'm using it for that. There is a bird, and I just slathered him on a bead. Put him on a flat bead marble, and then slather him with glue and dipped him in all that stuff. I forget what I was going to say after that, but just have fun with it. Oh, the plants. I just throw it in the dirt. So even though these don't have live plants, I still, for some reason, like to use live, good soil dirt. But good luck finding that during this time of year. I think that's what I was going to say. These fountains, I use clear glue, if I can find it. Clear glue. Okay. Ooh, you can see I got that on sale. And then I use a toothpick and I dip it in food coloring. And that's how you get the different colors. And you need about 2-3 days for it to actually dry. I made this one a little more green, so it could be a green themed one. So that's how you do that. You get your seashells, you glue on flat marbles, and Elmer's clear transparent, and then add your food coloring. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed these little fairy gardens. Thank you for staying with me this whole time. Hopefully you got some good tips. And then at the end, moss, tiny things, add detail, clean it up. Anything that's a mess up, throw glitter on it. I'm Fairy Grace. You're amazing.